Hi folks, Florida Man here. Today, we're doing an opening overview. Specifically, I'm going over a Russian opening, a little bit loosely defined in the sense that this opening is really about one specific unit going to one specific place. Specifically, Russia's northern opening is an opening in which Russia moves Moscow north to St. Petersburg in 1901. It doesn't sound like much, since, as I said, it's really just an adjustment of a single move from the typical Russian opening, but as we'll see, that single adjustment makes a massive difference in prospects for virtually every player on the map. I should start by pointing out what the typical Russian opening looks like. The most common Russian opening is probably St. Pete to Gulf of Bothnia, Sevastopol to Black Sea, Moscow to Ukraine, and Warsaw to Galicia. That's an opening I've seen in literally hundreds of games of diplomacy over the years, although not the majority, for the simple reason that Russia has a lot of options for Warsaw and Moscow. One of those options is to move Moscow north and try to influence what's happening in Scandinavia. This is, in my opinion, kind of an expert opening for Russia. Not because it is a brilliant and super effective move that only experts know about per se, but because you have to get a really strong read on at least 3 or 4 of the other players in order to know whether this is a good idea or not. This is a move I would absolutely not recommend making blindly. The possible benefits are significant. Depending on the English opening and French and German feelings, you might be able to secure twice as much of Scandinavia as you otherwise would, and set yourself up for an invasion of England or Germany, or possibly both. If the English are friendly, you will likely alienate them by doing this, though. If the Germans are anti-English, however, alienating the English is frequently worth the value of getting a good relationship with Germany and preventing the dreaded Anglo-German alliance. Just as importantly, you need to be aware of what the other Eastern powers will be thinking if you do this, though. You need to know that you risk looking very weak to both Austria and Turkey, and very uninvested in the East, where you're located. If Russia is perceived as an easy target by its neighbors, there's a strong likelihood that they abandon any idea of fighting each other in favor of instead attacking you. There's also the very real possibility that if you had an ally in either Turkey or Austria, that they might feel you opening north, even if they don't think it makes you look weak exactly, is an abandonment of your commitment, your obligations under your alliance. If you're supposed to be attacking Austria or Turkey, what is your army doing all the way in St. Petersburg, heading in the wrong direction? That is something that can be interpreted either favorably or unfavorably, depending on what your communications have been like, what the relationships are with your 2 southern neighbors, and what their relationships are with each other. Obviously, if Austria and Turkey deeply dislike each other, you'll likely still have your choice of friends after making this opening, assuming that neither one tried to attack you in spring 1901. However, you're rarely going to be that lucky. Thus, you need to take a very good and skillful read of a complicated social situation, and gather as much information as you can about your neighbor's true feelings before you decide to open north. Talking to Italy, France, and/or Germany about what they're hearing can be helpful in this regard. If you don't have a fairly good grasp of at least the situation in the East, just don't open north, because it can wreck the whole rest of your game if it's perceived badly by your southern neighbors. Austria and Turkey can very easily keep you out of Romania if they decide to, and that will counterbalance any gains in the north. And if they form a more lasting alliance, as may be likely if they actually went as far as to work together to keep you out of that neutral center, then you've taken a substantial loss for a very uncertain gain. The gain in the West becomes even less certain because if you had some form of alliance going there, but now you're perceived as being under attack in the East, at home, that increases the odds that your prospective ally abandons you. So I think this is one of those high-risk, high-reward situations, where you can absolutely do this opening and find success, perhaps get France and Germany to both jump on England, you get a sea lion going, but you'd better really know what you're doing, or you'll probably run into something different from success instead. I hope you enjoyed this opening overview and found it helpful. If so, I hope you'll like, subscribe, and check out more Florida Man diplomacy videos. please join me in thanking the folks whose names are now on screen who have gone above and beyond to support the channel by either contributing to my Patreon or writing subtitles, and feel free to join them in providing that extra support. We also appreciate comments, which boost the videos in the algorithm by showing you engage with the content and make it more likely that fellow diplomacy fans will discover Florida Man Diplomacy. Till next time, Florida Man out.